That's better. Nice and comfortable. Oh, hello. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, is this going to be another tale? Well, yes and no. Well, this is a preview of a Untold Tale I'm writing right now. It's a sneak peek. This is the opening to the tale I'm writing right now. It's called Thomas Jones versus Jack Jackson and Joanna Jones's Decision. As I said, this is just a sneak peek, but I hope you like it, and it will be coming out, the full one will be coming out soon. But enough about that, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. It's about to begin. Thomas Jones versus Jack Jackson and Joanna Jones's Decision. Sneak peek. In the courtyard of Jones Manor, two friends, Dr. Thomas Jones and Cornelius Sigan, argued loudly as Thomas's siblings, Junior Doctor Joanna Jones and Kate Jones, came walking over to them across the wide lawn. "I told you, Cornelius, I am not having a bounty hunter help us find Kate's attacker," Thomas snapped. His eyes flashed dangerously as his teeth gritted. "Why not, Thomas? You need all the help you can get," Sigan retorted, brushing his black hair out of his blacker eyes. Thomas could tell there was something wrong. Then, as the sunset shone over the courtyard, Joanna and Kate came over to Thomas and Sigan. Joanna began. "Thomas, we need to talk to you. It's important," Joanna said, his butterfly tattoo on his left cheek turning bright blue with concern. Thomas turned away from Sigan and to his little brother. "What's the matter, Joanna?" he asked as Joanna and Kate stopped in front of him, but Sigan interrupted before Joanna could say anything. "You and Kate stay out of this, Joanna. Thomas and I are having a private discussion, so this doesn't concern you and your sister," the dark raven snapped. But then Kate stepped forward and jabbed her index finger angrily at Sigan. "You shouldn't talk to Joanna like that, because we know that you've been behind this. You are the one who hired that bounty hunter to attack me," Kate yelled. Thomas looked at Sigan as a mixture of shock and anger on his handsome and scarred face. "Cornelius, is this true?" Thomas asked his friend calmly, but they could tell that Thomas was trying to hold his temper. Sigan was lost for words. "Tell him the truth, Cornelius," Joanna snapped as he pulled out his wand. His butterfly tattoo on his left cheek turned red with anger. But Sigan also pulled out his wand, a menacing look on his face. "So, it was you who went through my contact papers. I think it's time you learned some manners, little man." Then he pointed his wand at Joanna's chest and said, "Ruscio." The colour of Sigan's eyes flashed red, and then Joanna doubled over, screaming in pain. Then he fell to the ground, thrashing in pain. Thomas stood frozen to the spot. Then, as Joanna's screams echoed across the now half-dark courtyard, he pulled out his own wand from his grey jacket and pointed it at Sigan. "To Springe!" he yelled. The colour of his eyes flashed green, and a jet of whitish-blue energy blasted from his wand and hit Sigan in the chest, knocking him to the ground and releasing Joanna from the agony of the torture curse. Sigan looked up as Thomas stood over him, his wand pointed at his chest with a mixture of fury and betrayal on his face. "Is that true, Cornelius? You're the one responsible all for Kate's attack?" Thomas snapped angrily at Sigan, his blood starting to boil as his rage grew. Jonah staggered to his feet. Kate gave Jonah back his wand and they turned to Thomas. "I read the letter he got from the bounty hunters guild. Cornelius hired Jack Jackson to try and kill Kate. I got to Kate before he killed her. Now Jackson is on his way here to finish the job," Jonah yelled. His tattoo was going redder as his anger grew. Then Sigan grabbed his wand. Then with a wave of his arm and a red flash of his eyes, he threw the three aside and got to his feet. Thomas, Jonah and Kate staggered to their feet. Kate stepped back as Thomas and Jonah took their battle positions. Sigan did the same. "Jackson will be here soon, Thomas. I'll call him off if you forget these siblings of yours and join me," Sigan said evilly. But Thomas shook his head angrily. His untidy brown hair flapped around his face. But then he and Jonah felt something painful prick them in the necks. They yelped in pain and pulled what hit them more in their necks. Pulled off what hit them in their necks. They'd each had a Romanian dart shot at them. Then there was a loud bang which echoed through the courtyard. "Oh dear. Best get your tissues ready, folks." The brothers turned to see Kate collapse to the ground, blood gushing from her chest. Thomas and Jonah ran to their sister, and Thomas dropped to his knees and lifted Kate into his arms. Kate! Kate! Hold on! You'll be okay," Thomas stuttered as Kate tried to speak, but blood poured from her pink lips and dribbled down her chin. Thomas and Jonah pointed their wands at Kate's wound. "Gialeg," they both muttered. The colour of their eyes flashed green, but the spells that should have healed Kate's chest had no effect. They tried 3 more times, but then they heard laughing. It was a harsh, Icelandic voice, and it was coming from a metre away from them. You'll have to bear with me as I'm not very good with an Icelandic voice. "Those darts I shot you with are Romanian magic neutralizer darts. Your healing spells will have no effect on her wound. But your spells will work a little," the voice said with malice. Then the figure stepped into the light and showed himself. He was a tall and muscular man with pitch-black hair closely cropped to his head, but hidden under a dark grey Stetson. His eyes were dark green, his face was scarred and rough-looking, and his nose was crooked. He was also wearing a dark blue button shirt with a brown ammo belt across his chest, dark army trousers, light brown knee-high boots, with an Egyptian combat dagger in a sheath on his left boot, and he was wearing a long coat down to his ankles. The outside was blood red, and the inside was dark purple. "That's him! He's my attacker! He's Jack Jackson!" Kate croaked, causing blood to spill onto her shirt. Jonah's tattoo turned red and he pointed his wand at Jackson. "Ta springe!" he yelled. The colour of his eyes flashed green and a small jet of whitish blue energy shot from his wand and hit the bounty hunter in the face. Jackson staggered backwards. Blood gushed from his nose and mouth and dribbled down his shirt. Jonah's spell also left a huge gash across half of Jackson's face. "Well, your magic still has a little effect," Jackson stuttered through his pain. But then Sigan appeared beside him. The dark raven looked into Thomas's deep blue eyes, but all he saw in his eyes was anger, disappointment, grief, and betrayal. "Whatever relationship was between us, Cornelius, is over. Take your bounty hunter and then leave Jones Manor, and never return," Thomas said, his voice strained as he held his temper. Sigan merely nodded and grasped Jackson's shoulder. "Goodbye, old friend," Sigan said calmly. Then, with a snap of his fingers and a red flash of his eyes, they disappeared in a puff of black smoke. As the courtyard fell silent, Thomas and Jonah turned back to Kate. The colour had drained from her beautiful face. Her black hair fell in strands behind her head. Her green eyes stared up at them, and her chest rose and fell heavily as her breath was coming out ragged. "Remember, boys, when you face your enemies and the sorcerer final trials, be brave. I've already seen so much in the pair of you to know you'll both make me proud," Kate said through pain. Then Thomas's girlfriend, Beth Edwards, came running to them across the courtyard. Then she screamed as she saw Thomas cradling Kate in his arms. "What happened?" she squeaked. Thomas and Jonah told Beth everything. Beth clapped her soft hands over her pink lips. The colour drained from her rosy cheeks, and tears formed in her bright blue eyes. "Don't cry, Beth. I know I'm dying, but I'm not afraid, as I'll be with Zeus of Olympus, the man I loved and lost. I will finally be reunited with the God I love. But I will miss my brothers. I love you, my brothers," Kate said with her last breath, then sighed and closed her eyes. Her spirit had left her body and gone to Olympus to be with Zeus and the rest of the gods. Thomas and Jonah cried harder than they'd ever done. Then, the next day, the brothers were left with Beth, their parents, the Jones, the manor housemaid Sarah Wilson, their uncle Cade Jones, and Thomas's protector and best friend, Mutation Lily Rose, as well as their friend and mentor Johnny Salt, sorcerer Merlin the Wise, and mage Emrys the Great, to bury their sister. That was a real heartbreaker, wasn't it? It even got me a bit emotional. Anyway, the full story is coming soon. I promise you that. But just remember, leave a comment down below, and also to give me some feedback. And I hope you enjoyed that, and you're looking forward to the full tale. Until then, until next time, may the Force be with you to infinity and beyond. Bye-bye.